We've all seen an Aphelios pop off and wondered, how did he just do that?
Holy fuck, Kumayushi. Holy shit.
The answer lies in his weapons, combos, and decision making. If you've ever felt lost playing Aphelios, don't worry, I've got you covered. Aphelios is one of the most unique and difficult ADCs in League of Legends. But once you understand his weapons and combos, you'll be able to turn every game in your favor. In this guide, I'll teach you everything you need to know to master him, from his weapons, combos, and best builds, to laning, teamfighting, and advanced mechanics. So we'll start by talking about his abilities, of which he only really has 2.5. Let me explain. Aphelios has 5 different guns that all contain 50 ammo each. Red, green, purple, blue, and white. And Aphelios only has any 2 of these available to him at one time. Aphelios always starts the game at level 1 with red and green gun, having no abilities except his W, which simply allows him to switch between these 2 guns, changing them from main hand to offhand, and vice versa. At level 2, he unlocks his Q ability, which allows him to use 10 ammo of the gun in his main hand and activate its unique Q ability. Each gun's unique Q will apply the effects of whatever gun is in his offhand, but I'll explain this more in depth when we talk about gun rotations and combos. His ultimate is unlocked at level 6, and each gun has a different effect with his ult, but it's always the same projectile. Your ult always uses the gun you have in your main hand. Now let's go through Aphelios' abilities. So Red Q grants Aphelios increased movement speed and rapidly fires at the nearest enemy, healing him for a portion of the damage dealt. This attacks with both his red gun and his offhand weapon, applying its effect. And Red Ult instantly heals Aphelios for a percentage of the damage dealt by the ultimate. So this healing increases the more champions are hit by the ult. Green Gun has a significantly higher auto attack range than all your other weapons. And the Green Q fires a long range skill shot that marks the first enemy hit. And when you consume this mark, you apply the effects of your offhand weapon. So your Green Ult marks all enemies hit by the explosion, just like Green Q, and it allows you to consume these marks again, auto-attacking with your offhand weapon and applying its effect. So as you can see here, you can mark multiple people with your Green Ult, but you can only consume the mark on one of them. However, the more marks you have, the more damage you deal when you consume the one mark. Purple autos slow enemies hit for 30% with your autos. Purple Q roots all the enemies that are affected by this slow. Now all Purple Ult does is apply this effect on anyone hit by the ultimate, allowing you to root multiple targets at once. Blue autos have this kind of flamethrower effect. Blue Q fires a cone of flames, damaging all enemies in its area and applying the effects from Aphelios' offhand weapon. Blue ult is the ult that creates all the crazy clips that we've all seen. What happens is when you hit blue ult, there's an initial explosion, followed by many subsequent explosions depending on how many enemies are hit, allowing for a huge burst of damage. This is Aphelios' strongest teamfight ultimate, so you use it when enemies are grouped up to deal massive area of effect damage. So white gun autos act as a sort of boomerang, meaning you can only auto attack once the chakram has returned to you. Now the way to build chakrams up is having your white gun in your offhand and using your main hand's Q. When enemies hit by your main hand weapon's Q, generate chakrams that can be used when autoing with white gun. White Q deploys a sentry that automatically fires at the nearest enemy using Aphelios' offhand weapon. White ult spawns additional chakrams for every enemy hit by the explosion. So if you hit one person with your white ult, it will spawn 5 additional chakrams. And if you hit 2 people, it will spawn 6, and if you hit 3 people, it will spawn 7 additional chakrams. The general best rotation to use is to always finish your red ammo first when you have it. There's a first rotation you must do at the beginning of the game, but after this you get the rotation that you'll be using for the rest of the game. For the first rotation, getting rid of red leaves you with green and purple, then finishing your green ammo to have purple and blue. And from here some people prefer to finish purple first so they can have access to the green-purple combo later, but I think it's better to finish blue first so you have access to the blue-green combo because of its insane damage. But regardless, after this you'll have blue-white or purple-white, and you want to get rid of either purple or blue, leaving you with red and white. And once again, emptying the red ammo first to get green and white. This is essentially the first rotation, and once you've done this, you want to have green-blue, into blue-purple, into purple-red, into red-white, into white-green, and repeat. And that's your rotation for the whole game. Now let's go over what each gun combo does and why this rotation is so effective. Green and blue. Green Q fires a thin projectile that marks targets. Attacking them consumes the mark, triggering a bonus attack with your offhand weapon, which will be blue here. Blue Q deals damage in a cone and applies a targeted attack with your offhand weapon to hit all enemies. The reason this is so strong is that blue Q is easy to land, and it instantly applies green's mark, letting you follow up with another attack for a huge burst of damage. So the optimal combo is to blue auto, blue Q, switch to green, green ult, green auto, consume green mark to finish them off. And the key tip is to always auto before using your abilities to maximize your damage output without slowing your combo down. Blue and purple. Purple Q roots all slowed targets but doesn't interact with the offhand weapon. This is the only gun that Aphelios has that does this. So the general combo is to auto with blue, blue Q, swap to purple, auto with purple, and then Q. You can also skip the purple auto in case they're about to escape, but that's a situational decision. Red and purple. This is a pretty weak combo, and there's not much synergy between these two weapons. You want to avoid sitting on red and purple for too long as it limits your damage potential. And the way to do this is to burn through your blue and purple ammo so you can quickly reach red and white, which is a much stronger combo. Red and white. This combo is insanely strong. One of Aphelios', if not his best combo. The reason white is broken here is because red Q generates Crescendum chakrams, which stack for insane DPS. And an important chakram mechanic is that they don't scale with attack speed, but instead they attack faster the closer you are to the target. So in this case, Aphelios becomes kind of a melee ADC. And the optimal combo here is to auto, red Q, swap to white, and just keep autoing. You don't really want to use your white Q here because it's going to lower your DPS. So in this case, you want to just keep autoing. White and green. This is the late game destroyer. White Q deploys a turret that attacks with the offhand weapon. The reason that white green is OP here is that turret attacks apply green marks, letting you auto enemies from extreme range while the turret deals extra damage. And you can catch someone off guard with a lethal combo, and 2 autos can delete a squishy late game. This is also great for teamfights, as it lets you deal damage safely from a distance, because you can put your white turret down, walk back, and auto from a safe distance without the risk of being flashed on. This rotation optimizes Aphelios' best combos, ensuring strong poke, sustain, CC, and burst at every stage of the game. Mastering these weapon swaps will massively improve your effectiveness. When it comes to Aphelios' build path, the core setup in most games should be Yuntal Wild Arrows, into Lord Dominic's Regards, into Infinity Edge. This build gives you the highest damage output against most team comps, especially when facing tanks or bruisers due to the armor penetration from Lord Dominic's. However, against squishier team comps, you can switch it up for faster burst potential by going Collector first, into Infinity Edge, into Lord Dominic's Regards. And this is assuming they don't build any armor, and what this alternative build gives you is a quicker access to crit and lethality, allowing you to delete carries faster while still having good scaling into the late game. And for your boots options, Swifties are usually the best pick, providing better kiting and repositioning, especially against teams with slows or high mobility. You could also go for Berserker's Greaves, if the team is very melee heavy. However, this is very situational and most of the time you're going to be wanting to go Swifties. So for the last 2 items, you're either going to take Runon's Hurricane or Shield Bow if you're facing a very high burst damage team. And the last item you're going to need is Bloodthirster. The lifesteal, especially with Red Gun, is so strong. And the Overshield can save you from any burst damage coming your way. Now let's talk about rune setup. These are the runes you want to be going regardless of build, and there's very few situations that require you to adjust your runes. The only thing that you could change is taking Absorb Life instead of Presence of Mind, but I just take Presence of Mind because it's my personal preference. So that covers the basics of playing Aphelios, but there are some advanced mechanics and strategies that can really elevate your gameplay. I'll be releasing a dedicated advanced guide soon, so make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. If you want more content, be sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Links are in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video as I continue to climb through Ranked.